Oh, hi there. I know my form probably wasn't very good, but I was a receiver, not a lineman. Anyway, welcome back to another CanWest Top 50 show as we move closer to revealing the top player in Western Canada at the USPORTS level. Now, in this grouping of players, we have 4 guys who were drafted in the 2021 CFL draft, a quarterback who was second ranked on our list at that position, and his teammate who came to Canada at a very young age from Sierra Leone. Before we get to them though, let's go back last week to see how we got here. All right, Connor Berglof, your thoughts first off on being chosen as number 15 in the top 50 CanWest.
It's pretty great. Super stoked I was able to get drafted as high as I did and excited for the opportunities to come.
Yeah, no kidding. So you draft by Ottawa. Were you surprised where you went? Is that kind of where you thought you'd go? Didn't matter?
Didn't really matter to me. It was like, I'm just happy that I was drafted. I didn't really know where I was going to go in the draft. It was just kind of a wait and see thing for me.
Awesome. So I know we watch the NFL draft and guys are behind the scenes and guys get a call. Hey, you want to be ready to be a red black? You never got a call like that? You were just told later that you were red black?
Yeah. So I initially got the call from my agent, Rob Fry. Like as soon as it happened, he's like, congrats. But I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, thanks. And then Coach Lapalisse called me like 2 minutes later.
What's your best attribute as an offensive lineman?
I'm nasty. I'm gritty. Like run game's my jam. Like I told every team that. Like that's my favorite thing to do. It's just beat on the opposition.
Yeah, you like to be the hammer, not the nail, so to speak.
Exactly.
When did you start playing football, and how did you get turned on to the sport?
Oh, geez. Oh, I've been playing for what's the math now, like 15 years or something. I started playing in like grade 5 in the Kinsman Football League.
Okay.
And I started playing there because a lot of my friends were playing football. They started the year before. I was looking for something to do in the fall. I was like, sure. So I gave it a shot, and so obviously it worked out pretty well for me.
How big are you right now?
I'm 6'3", like 306, 307.
Okay, were you always the biggest guy? When did you have that growth spurt? Were you always kind of intimidating amongst your friends, so to speak?
Yeah, I was always the biggest guy. Little rounder, I was a little fat kid. Still fat now, but the good kind of fat.
Yeah.
Always been kind of big like that. The main transformation was in high school though. Like I came in at 6 foot 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And I left at like 6'3", 280.
Wow. Were you always a lineman? Were you always an offensive lineman?
I've flipped back and forth between offense and defense. Majority O-line, but I did play both ways in high school.
What do you like best about being a center?
Oh, tough one, but it's nice having the veto power, driving the car. So I get to dictate what everybody does. So like we get to play and I make my calls, and I mean, even if you hate my guts, like you have to follow what I say. Like that's great.
That is great. But how much pressure comes with that? How much because we know the quarterback studies a lot, but you're the quarterback of the offensive line, like you just described. So how much pressure comes with that, and how much film work comes with that?
A lot of pressure comes with that because, like I said, like the guys have to listen to me. So if I'm wrong, I'm the one at fault, right? Yeah. So that's a lot of pressure, and like any mistake, like any sack, any TFL, like that obviously eats at any lineman. But when you're the one who's solely responsible for it, it's even more so. But yeah, a lot of film work because I have to be able to read the defense and like in instant determine what our calls are with the play we're running and get that out to the guys all in from like huddle to the line before we snap the ball. So I'm watching what fronts teams are usually in for what down and distance. Like if there's personnel changes, like Calgary was running nickel and dime packages on us in 2019. where the safety's going to be, because if the safety's flowing somewhere, that means we're probably going to get a hammer blitz, and just stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of film work.
Hey, Connor, talk about your relationship with the quarterback, because that's got to be one where you guys got to be in sync there.
Yeah, definitely. Like, always got to be best friends with your quarterback. And Mason's a great guy, easy to be friends with. There's a give and take. Like, I always ask him after every other play, like, how was the snap? Because, like, I can feel when it's a little iffy. And then it's nice to have him tell me, like, where it is, like if it's low to the left or up, so I can adjust accordingly. And, like, he also asks me questions about the protections we're running, so he can learn, so he knows what our calls are, and just helping him understand that even more. So it's a nice, like, symbiotic relationship we got going.
Talk to me about what Ottawa said. Like, what, like, do they see you at center, guard? Where do they pencil you in their plans?
I'm a center. Yeah, I was talking with Coach Wiley, and, like, we're talking about his expectations for his centers, because, like you said, like, center's the quarterback of the O-line, and he expects that. Like, a lot of film work, a lot of study. Like, I got to know what everybody's doing. I got to know what everybody on the defense is doing. That's the expectation right now. So I'm going to work to live up to that.
Hey, have you watched any Hard Knocks of the Cleveland Browns to see what Bob Wiley's like?
Oh, yeah. I've seen his clips. It's great. Yeah.
He's a character, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Great guy, though.
I love
Fantastic guy.
I love the stretching segment. Did you see that one? Why don't get this whole calisthenic stretching stuff?
Yeah.
You think they stretched before World War II? That's hilarious. Yeah. Brendan Labatt swears by him, though. He said he's the best coach he's ever had. So
yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm really looking forward to working with him.
How much has Scott Flory helped you get ready for professional football?
That's a great question. Like, we haven't really talked about, like, the mentality or anything of that, but, like, just, I think he's helped intrinsically prepare me just by how he runs his offense and the standards he has for the offensive line and his coaching style, and just, like, the give and take between the players and coaches. Like, that's been instrumental in my growth over the past couple of years, and it's just been phenomenal.
Yeah. Hey, you're 15 on our list of the top 50 here. Like, this was picked by coaches anonymously, some players I trust, and media guys, and you're 15. Just your thoughts on being 15 on this list. I know you're drafted and that's more important to you, but it's always cool when your peers and coaches and stuff see what you can do.
Oh, yeah. It's always great to be acknowledged like that. Like, I was not going to lie, I was super surprised when I made first team All-Canadian. Like, I didn't think I was going to get that many votes, especially enough to be a Canada West All-Star in our conference. Because if I'm being honest, our O-line was probably one of the most hated O-lines in the conference, just because we're that big, that fast, that mean, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised. Like, I was grateful for the nomination and had a great time in Quebec City, but it's just a little surprising. But it's nice to know that all the hard work I'm putting in is being recognized.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I've talked to other guys that got drafted here, because we don't know what's going to happen in the CFL season. How long, like, there'll be no preseason. We don't know for sure how long the season's going to be. So it might be pretty hard to make a team, only because you have to do it on a short leash, so to speak. So if you don't make Ottawa, I know you're gearing up for that. Come back to the Huskies. Talk about that Husky team that is gearing up for 2021.
Yeah, so we've been working out and getting any field work in that we can within, like, following Sask Health's guidelines and all that. With the restrictions lifted in terms of age, it's great. We're actually able to get out on the field now in our small groups of 8, which is perfect for us, because we can have 8 linemen out there with a coach and just, like, walk through steps, walk through plays. Like, that's going to be phenomenal for us. We got some young guys coming up. It's going to be great to see them develop. Like, I've been watching them develop for a couple of years, and it's great to see them get a chance to play and prepare for a starting spot now.
I feel like your football team is on the cusp of, like, this should be a year where the Huskies definitely compete for a Vanier Cup. In fact, if you didn't play in the Vanier Cup, it'd be a disappointment. Am I right when I say that?
Yeah, that's definitely our mentality. We got a great group of guys. Like, every position, we're solid in depth. We're solid in talent. Like, it's going to be a fun year.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching you play football, whether it's at Griffith Stadium or Frank Clair Stadium or Mosaic Stadium, either as a Husky or a Rider or a Red Black against the Riders. Thanks for this, Connor. Congratulations. Best luck getting that back healed up, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Here with Logan Bandy of the Calgary Dinos, but look over my shoulder. It's Ed McWhorter's Riders jerseys back in the day. So like you might be donning one of those. Doesn't that feel pretty good?
It's still kind of setting in, yeah. It feels pretty cool. So
now you grew up as a Stampeders fan because your parents were season ticket holders. When you went there, the games in your what, grade 3, grade 4?
Yeah, I mean we've had season tickets to the Stamps for 10 plus years now. It's we're always up high in the bleachers and lots of fun, and my favorite games to go to were the ones against the Riders because the 50-50 split of the fans is always the best. So
okay, so you guys probably grew up hating the Riders. How did it go over that you got drafted by the Riders?
I think the family's warming up to it pretty quick. We have some neighbors that are pretty big Riders fans, so I know they were celebrating a little bit and giving my parents a bit of a hard time. So no, it's exciting, and I can't wait to get started there. So. 5th round pick. That sounds weird to me because everybody I was talking to, I thought you'd go a lot higher than that. Did you have that feeling? Yeah, I mean, you never want to see yourself slide like that. I tried to stay away from any kind of mock draft or anything, especially in this year. I haven't strapped on the pad since 2019, so there was a lot of uncertainty going in. I didn't see myself sliding that far, but honestly, I'm just grateful that the Riders are giving me this opportunity, so and make the most of it.
Yeah, okay. Come on though, big man. As you start to kind of fall further than where you thought you were, and it's only a 6-round draft this year, not an 8-round draft. That's not even large to begin with, but then they shrink it down because of the draft class last year. How stressful was it? How did you manage that stress on draft day?
Yeah, it was it was a stressful couple hours. I had my family with me too, and we were all refreshing the phones, and I was talking to my agent quite a bit. So when the pick finally came in, it was a lot of relief. So it was kind of an interesting night. It's one that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. So
I kind of find that what's cool about your story is you became a fan of the 3-down game by going to Stampeder games. A lot of young people nowadays gravitate towards the NFL. They look up to NFL guys. Who did you look up to in Stampeder colors that kind of turned you on to the football side of things?
Yeah, I mean, when I really started getting into it, it was the Kenyon Rambo, and I actually have a Charleston Hughes Stamps jersey, hung up in my room. That's kind of a weird one now. So, but those guys kind of coming up, I was right at the Henry Burris in Calgary kind of stage is when I was really into it. So to kind of see those guys, I didn't really have the NFL interest that a lot of guys have nowadays. So it was really nice to have those players on the Stamps when you're growing up and try and be one of those guys one day. So
okay, how much are you looking forward to going to camp with the Riders as we talk here, and working with a guy like Brendan Labatt, who's going to go down as one of the best offensive linemen in the last 30 years in the CFL, or a Dan Clark, a guy that's scraped and clawed his way junior practice squad to be a pretty great center with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, those kind of guys.
Yeah, I mean, even with my talks with the organization on draft night, they're saying, I'm going into a situation where I get to learn from some Hall of Famers. So it's going to be, I'm going to be taking as many mental reps as I can, watching those guys, and I hope they're there to help me out, and I know they will be, and I'm super excited to get that opportunity to learn and to figure out the game.
Would that be some advice you'd give to other players and younger people maybe watching this, is do the mental reps? You hear mental reps lots, but when you're not on the field, it doesn't mean you can't be active, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing. And actually, after I got drafted, Darius Sirocco, former Dino on the Ticats, reached out and he said, the biggest thing for the transition from university to pro is the mental. And he said, memorize whatever they send you front to back, watch as much film as you can, and you'll be better off. So if you want to make that next step, it's really important to set aside that time and really work on your mental game, because it'll help in the long run for sure. 2 more quick questions, Logan. We don't know, it's going to be tough for you and even tough for last year's draft class
to make a team this year? Not because you're not talented and can't do it, but we don't know how long the season's going to be. There'll probably be no preseason games. So what are your expectations going into this camp? And I look at it like you're playing with house money, because if you don't make the Riders, you still got a couple years left with the defending Bandy Cup champion Calgary Dinos, if it goes that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the goal is to make a roster, and then that won't change. And I'm going to go into camp and I'm going to battle for that spot and as much as I can. And I'm going to put my best foot forward. But at the end of the day, I mean, I have 2 years left at the UFC, and I know that team's trying to win another national championship. So looking at it, really, I going to come into training camp, put the best foot forward, and whatever happens. So.
What was it like winning that championship through your eyes? Because offensive line is really an interesting position. It's the only one in professional sports where your whole job is to sacrifice your well-being for the good of somebody behind you, quarterback, running back, and so the receivers can get the ball. You don't get the glory, but you get the pain. What was it like? Was the pain worth it when you finally got to hoist that championship?
Yeah, I mean, that's a moment that you're never going to forget for the rest of your life, right? When you grind 4 or 5 months, well, technically the whole year with the boys, and you pay it off with the big trophy at the end. There's really nothing that you can say to describe it other than that. It's kind of like an out-of-body experience winning that national championship. So I can only imagine what the Grey Cup would feel like.
I think as I look at our list here, which was comprised anonymously, talking to coaches, some players, and media, I believe as I see it, you're right there as the top lineman on the list at number 14 here. How does that feel to be the top ranked lineman in the CanWest?
I mean, it feels pretty good. I've worked my ass off to get here, and I had an interesting rookie year, and I followed it up with a first team All Canadian season the next year. So to be able to go from a blocking tight end to a starting left tackle in a year is quite a jump for me. So I've definitely put in the work over the last couple of years, and I think it's really paid off. So. Yeah,
lastly, I keep saying lastly, but that's interesting. So what do you mean by an interesting rookie, or was it just that fact being a blocking tight end?
Yeah, so I actually got beat out for the starting spot by Tyler Packer because there was an open spot on that right tackle. So I came in and started a couple games when we had some injuries on the line or whatever, but for the most part, I was that sixth guy. So I'd come in and, blocking tight end, kind of on the edge. I even lined up at wideout in the national semifinal against Laval. Wow. And I completely missed my block, and then I didn't see another rep that game. So to follow that up,
yeah,
it was crazy. Yeah, they had number 69 out at wideout. It was got some looks from the Laval bench for sure. But it was pretty cool to follow that up with a great season at left tackle the next year. So
well, I'll tell you what, when I hear Logan Bandy is versatile, I think center, guard, maybe tackle, not tight end, and especially not wide receiver. So we could see some gadget plays from Coach Moss down the line here in Saskatchewan. That is outstanding. Hey, Logan, thanks for this. I really appreciate your time. Congratulations once again, coming over to the good side, the green and white, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Here with Ben Hladick of the BC Lions and UBC Thunderbirds. First off, before we get to all of that, I got to address this thing. I was setting up a shelving unit and it collapsed on me and hit me right between the eyes, buddy. So try to look past that. What's the freakiest injury you've ever had in your life?
Freakiest injury I've probably had is probably I was at the driving range with my brother when I was about 5 years old, and he caught me on the backswing. I was a little too close. He caught me on the backswing on the side of my head and gave me a little knock, but had a big one of those on the side of my head for a while.
Well, I'm a radio announcer / social media guy, so I'm not a handy guy. So that's the reason for that mark on my head. Hey, let's go back to draft night, 3rd round, BC Lions. You're a BC kid. Just talk about the night. How did that shake down for you?
It was a great night. I had my family around me and we were watching the draft, and I got the call right after from BC, and I couldn't be more excited that I get to stay in BC and play for the Lions.
Yeah, talk about your love of the BC Lions, because you, I was reading you went in the you took part in like a play with the pros kind of program they had. Just tell us about that and how that got you going with the BC Lions and in football too.
Yeah, I think I was like 6, 7, 8 around there. I think I went a couple of years in a row, and they did the practice with the pros camps, and they came to Vernon. So me and my brothers went and did practice with the pros, and then just throughout growing up, I always went to BC Lions games with my brothers and with my dad, and just always been around watching them. So pretty excited.
Who did you look up to? Which BC Lion or Lions did you look up to back in the day?
Back in the day, it was probably always G. Roy Simon, because we were always throwing the ball outside, pretending to be receivers and all that stuff. So definitely him.
Were you always a defender on the defensive side of the ball when you started playing football?
Yeah, I started in grade 8. I was in high school. You kind of played both sides of the ball. So I was receiver, tight end, running back sometimes, and on defense I did it all as well. So kind of both sides of the ball.
Yeah. So do you love the defensive side better? Like what I guess you do because you're a defender. What turned you on to the defensive side?
The defensive side, probably the physicality of it, obviously, and the mental aspect of it, stopping your opponent. And those are probably 2 things I love most about it.
Now you're a 2-time All-Star, CanWest Defensive Player of the Year in 2018. But then everything went to you-know-what here with this pandemic. How did you deal with the pandemic, buddy?
As soon as the pandemic started, kind of when UBC announced that classes were going to online, I actually moved home and I lived with my parents for a bit. And then actually, my wife and I were having our wedding in May. We were supposed to be at the end of May, so we ended up bumping it up to the end of April after a couple months of being home. And since then, we've been living together, and now we're planning our trip to move down to Vancouver.
Yeah, so Caitlin's her name, is that correct?
Yeah, Kaylin.
Awesome. So how long have you guys been together?
We've been together for about 5 years now, married for just over a year.
Wow, young guy to get married. When did you decide that she was the one? How did you know she was the one?
Probably a couple of years after we were dating. We moved down to the coast together. She went to play soccer at UFV and did her schooling there, and I was at UBC and did my schooling there. And just the commitment we both made to each other to see each other as much as we could, and ever since that, it's been great, and can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together.
Yeah, no kidding, man. So how did you adjusted the date? Did you adjust the ceremony, and how did it go from a big thing to a small thing, the wedding?
Yeah, actually it was still about 20 people, but that was just our siblings and parents. So we both have pretty big families, and her dad was going to perform the ceremony anyways.
Okay.
So he did it anyways. He walked her down the aisle. We just did it at a beach in Vernon because that's the only place we could really do it. So he walked her down the aisle to the beach, and then he performed the ceremony as well. And our brothers and our parents and siblings were there. So
that's kind of neat. Did you like it better like that in the sense that you maybe didn't have to and I'm just making up names here, but you didn't have to invite crazy Uncle Carl to the wedding because, I would have loved to have you there, but we can't because of the COVID thing?
I don't know. I think I would have liked to have everyone around, all of our loved ones and everything, all our friends, and but hopefully we can do some kind of ceremony and have a party later, and once everything's kind of cleared up.
You gotta pinch yourself, Ben. Like you're playing for your hometown team or your home provincial team, the BC Lions. Do you remember going to the games indoors there and what that was like? And now you may get to be on the field playing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to games there since I was probably 5 years old, a couple times a year. And throughout university, we tried to go to games when we could, and just can't imagine how good it's going to feel to be on the field in the uniform instead of in the stands watching.
Now, this is a top 50 CanWest show that I'm doing. You're inside the top 20 for sure. I think even inside the top 10. Just your thoughts on being on this list.
It's an awesome list to be on. Obviously, there's a lot of good players in Canada West, and they prove that every year as how far the conference goes into the playoffs and how many people get drafted out of the conference every year. So really honored to be on the list, considered the top in Canada West.
Hey, Ben, who besides on your team, who do you respect in CanWest in terms of a player or like to watch? Anybody you kind of keep your eyes on that's not a UBC Thunderbird?
I'd probably say the Philpott twins out of Calgary, just because we played them in high school too, and to see their success now is great to see, and just always cheering for the BC guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I like the fact you're a young guy and you like Canadian football. Like a lot of these guys, and no disrespect, but when I ask them who they look up to, you said G. Roy Simon. A lot of these guys, they say NFL guys. What do you like about the 3-down game?
I really like the aspect of it that it moves a lot faster. Like the passing game is a lot more kind of strategy to it to get the 10 yards instead of 4 downs. You kind of have to smash the ball forward, but it's a lot harder to move the ball in the Canadian game with the 3 downs, and the bigger field and everything's obviously a lot nicer for the offense than the defense, but it's just a lot more fun to play, I think.
How do you think your game transitions from CanWest to the CFL?
I think it transitions pretty well as like playing Canadian football, obviously in USPORTS to go into the CFL. I know all the ins and outs of the rules and the games and kind of all the motions and Canadian football, how it's a lot different than American football, obviously. And my size and athleticism, I think, will translate great to playing defense, special teams, wherever I end up playing.
What's your best attribute, Ben, as a player?
I think my mindset, like dedication to the game, like on and off the field, giving it my best whenever I can, and making sure I put myself and the team in the best situation possible.
Yeah, that's real good. Have Neil McAvoy and or Rick Campbell told you what they expect from you?
Yeah, they expect me to come in and compete at camp and make my mark on wherever I end up playing. If it's on special teams right away, I'm going to make my mark on special teams. And if it's playing some defensive snaps, then I'm going to make my mark there as much as I can. So
just we talked about the wedding aspect and that type of thing during the pandemic, but how tough was it on you during the pandemic to keep in shape, to keep your motivation, to be, sharp mentally and all that type of stuff?
Fortunately, we had some weights and some workout equipment at my parents' house, and gyms were only closed here for a couple months, I'd say, in the interior of BC. So we got pretty lucky there that they opened up pretty quick and we could go to use the college field here and run around with my brother, because he plays at UBC too, actually. So it was pretty nice having him home and we could do drills together and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
That's cool that your brother plays with you. What's his first name again?
His name's Bradley.
Bradley, that's right.
Yeah.
So how neat was that to play with your brother?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We've been playing together all high school. Now, sadly, only got 1 year to play with him at university, but yeah. Yeah,
awesome. And I guess lastly, it's going to be interesting for you at camp. There are 2 draft classes now in the CFL that haven't played and go to camp. So yeah, you're going to have to hit the ground running, hey?
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. We're in Kamloops, so pretty used to practicing, playing there. I've played a lot of games there and tournaments there, and so know pretty well it'll be nice to be there.
Yeah, you're a Vernon guy, but just talk about that for a second, because you played a lot of, I guess, the playoffs there in Kamloops?
Yeah, we used to not have a turf field in Vernon, so we have to play all of our playoffs games on a turf field, so we go there, and just playing Kamloops teams, we'd play 2-3 times a year at the same field there at TRU, and like all-star games and that kind of stuff. A lot of them were there as well.
Lastly, where does orange rank on your favorite color chart?
Hey, top of the chart.
Good answer. Hey, Ben, thanks for this. Congratulations on being a part of our top 50 list, and congratulations on potentially being a BC Lion this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for putting the list together too. That's awesome.
Here's outstanding quarterback of the Manitoba Bisons, Des Catellier, joining me here. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. You're in the top 15. You're the second ranked quarterback on our list. How do you feel when I say that?
Again, I have maybe a little bit of a different opinion on that, but it is what it is. I think it's pretty cool to be in the top 15 still, but I measure my success more on how I feel about myself, how my teammates feel about myself, more in-house. And these lists are awesome, but I don't put a hell of a lot of value on myself on these lists. So
yeah, no, and that's absolutely, man. I mean, I had a hand in this list, but I'm the facilitator. But I think lists are good
for generating interest. Would you not agree? Something that is long overdue for this league.
I agree 100%. I mean, there needs to be more coverage, more topics, more things to discuss on U Sports football. So I think this list is a great thing to, you know, bring up the conversations. I'm sure around our locker room, once this list gets released, people are going to be talking about it. So I think people around the city, people around the country will be talking about it. So I think it's a very good thing.
So Des, why do you think, and judging by your comments, why do you think you're the best quarterback in the conference? And you wouldn't be off your rocker for saying that. Why do you think you're the best quarterback?
I think my work ethic, my leadership, my arm talent, I think a lot of different things go into playing quarterback, and I think I can do a lot of those things, if not everything, at a high level of playing quarterback. My IQ, I think there's a lot of different things I bring to the table, and I think I can do everything at a high level, and I think that's why I would be the best quarterback on this list.
Well, I love watching you play. What's your favorite pass to throw? What you really stretch the field well. What's your favorite route? If you're on the field, give me one play. Tell me the play call and what is it? Where are you going with the ball?
Oh, I love a good corner route.
Okay.
We'll call it duck. We call it duck in our playbook. I love a good corner route. Like that's my favorite ball to throw. I'll throw any ball, of course, but I think a corner ball. Right, we're at the 35-yard line. We got man coverage, and he's just popping it to the back corner of the end zone. And you just lay it up to that back corner. That's my favorite ball.
Macho Bakru, there you go. Lay it
Macho
up there.
Bakru, yeah.
Let him go get it.
100%.
So, do you get up you're a Calgary boy. Do you get up to play the Dinos? And let's go back to the 2019 semifinal. I mean, come on, man, that was an unbelievable game. You guys were dead. And that may have been your finest moment. You led that team back when it looked like they were dead. You led them on 2 scoring drives to give your Bisons a chance to win in your home city. What do you remember about that game?
I remember everything about that game, but I mean, yeah, you get up a little extra, you go home, my family's there, my friends are there. I mean, I don't think it's the Dinos specifically that does it, but when you go into Calgary, I know a lot of guys on the Dinos too, but I know a lot of guys on a lot of the teams, so that's not a big thing. But yeah, you know, my family, my friends there. You know, I won a city championship at McMahon, so I got some memories there. And yeah, so it's exciting to go back there and play football for sure. But the game itself, man, like, yeah, it seemed. I mean, maybe to the outside world, it seemed like we were down and out, but on our sideline, we were never down and out. We were always in that game. And that was our whole mentality the whole game. Hey, just keep plugging. We're in this. And you know, we made some big plays in the fourth. And it came from a lot of different guys. It came from the defensive side of the ball, the special teams, and the offense. You know, receivers, O-line, myself, running backs. There was big plays all over the field from the whole team. And it was like if you felt that energy on the bench, like there was an energy, and we really all believed that we were going to get the win in Calgary. We all believed it the whole week of practice. The day of, you could feel it. There was, you know, it felt like something special. And you know, at the end of the day, it's a coin flip, 2-point convert, and we don't get it done. And it's.
Did you like that call?
Going for 2?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's, you know, and how our coach explains is that's overtime right there. Why go back to the 35? Give them a possession, give us a possession, and have this whole thing in overtime when you have overtime from the 5-yard line. Our offense has the ball, chance to win the game, end the game right there. Adam Sinagra and the Calgary boys don't touch the field no more. Their offense was a high-powered offense, so we don't let them touch that field anymore. We could have won the game, walked off, and went to the Hardy Cup.
Does that give you optimism? Does that give you optimism going into what we're hoping is a 2021 season? Because you guys were right there, toe for toe, with the eventual champs. Like, you were right there. And that's the thing about the Bisons. You guys, no disrespect, but this program kind of sleepwalks at times during the regular season. But when the chips are on the table, Manitoba Bisons come to play, and you're the leader of that team. For
sure. I mean, to start with your first question, the optimism a little bit, like it absolutely does. I mean, our whole team, we watched Calgary on the rest of the season. We watched them win 3 more games, and we all sat there knowing that could have been us. Not thinking, we knew that could have been us. We knew we could have won those games. We watched the games happen. We knew we could have won those games. So I think that feeling, that really brought us together. and towards the goal that now is the Bandy Cup. You know what, like in my time here, to kind of elaborate on your other point, in my time here, we haven't had a lot of success in the regular season. But I think you look at records, you see that we didn't have success, and we didn't end up putting stuff together. But there was a lot of problems in group, and we've solved a lot of those problems. We've solved all those problems. The in-group problems aren't there anymore. And you know, those are the differences between little wins and little losses, and us being in 4th place in the CanWest instead of being in 1st or 2nd place in the CanWest and hosting that game, and them having to come to Winnipeg and play a whole different game, a whole different ball game.
Right.
Yeah. So that the importance on those little things, those little wins and losses that come in the regular season, I mean, we're fixing those things in group. And you know, like having that game in Calgary too, being the last game of football I've played, the last game of football our whole team has played in 2 years. I mean, that's been on our minds. So we're going to be ready to roll in 2021, 2022, whenever we have a season.
Who's your favorite guy to watch in the league besides the guys on your team? Pick me somebody else on another team that you enjoy watching, because you seem like a student of the game. You like watching other games.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good question. I think like you know, offensive side or defensive side,
whatever you want. I don't care. Pick one of each.
Yeah. Okay. I think on the defensive side of the ball, I'd go Ben Hladick from BC.
Yeah.
That dude's a stud. He's a student of the game. He's somebody, when I'm playing BC and I'm trying to figure out the defenses, he's number one priority always, right? So I got to figure him out before he figures me out, because he's gonna figure me out at one point. I better have him figured out too. So I think I love his game. He's hard to play against and really fun to watch. Offensive side of the ball, I mean, there's some studs out there. This last year, I mean, I can't say it wasn't Adam Mackhart. That dude, you hate to watch him play when you're playing against him. I mean, I think he had over 200 yards against us, but man, was he good this year. And I think that's credit to the whole offensive line on Saskatchewan as well.
Don't you think he got ripped off? He should have been the Heck Creighton Trophy winner. I thought he got ripped off. I thought he got jobbed personally.
As a CanWest guy, I agree, but I'm also not going to take nothing away from Chris Merchant, who's a great quarterback. So yeah, I got no comment on that.
Would you follow Merchant's route? Would you go to Europe and play football like him? Because I've often said this too. I don't know how many guys, like you're a psychology student, okay? I mentioned Nias, he's got 2 degrees. I have a tough time believing smart guys like you who got a degree will go play for a piece of pizza in Italy and a couple of lira. You know what I mean? Like, let's develop them in Canada. Or would you follow that route and go Chris Merchant's way?
It's not my number one choice. That's 100%. But I would do it if that's the opportunity that came my way. Go for a couple of years. I'd do it. I love the game of football. I'm 22 years old right now, and I'm in the prime. I'm in the absolute prime of my athletic career, and I think there's actually more to come. I disagree with you. I don't think you're in your prime. I think that's. I think you're. You know what's funny? You're Sam Darnold type. Sam Darnold just got traded to Carolina. Yeah.
He's already played 3 years in the NFL, and he's 23, and people are ready to throw him out with the bathwater. Like, you're 22. You probably got 4 more years before you were at your athletic peak.
I agree with you, and I should have mentioned it that way. Actually, it's like I went out and trained with Rob Williams. I want to give him a shout out too, because I owe him a lot. I went out and trained with Rob Williams out for a month and a couple weeks, a couple different times out with him in Vancouver, and you know, he completely changed my game, mechanics wise, how I work. I owe him a lot, as I went out there for combine training last year, and I owe him a lot of where I am. And now I think he untapped a lot of potential in myself. So that's why I feel like, I'm in the prime, because I just got a lot better in this last year and a half. But I agree with you 100%. And that's why I would want to go keep playing a little bit, because I love this game of football, and I don't want to stop playing when I know there's only the best to come. And I know I can play at the CFL level, but the hardest part is going to be getting that opportunity, right? So if I have to go play Europe for a couple of years and maybe still get that opportunity, I would do that. I would approach it that way as well.
Last thing for you there, Des Catellier. I talked to your head coach, Brian Dopey. He didn't outright say you're the best player to come through the program, but he said there's nobody better than him. And I know he goes, a lot of people use that terminology, but I seriously mean it. I don't know if I can give him the absolute top honors as top Bison ever, but nobody would be better than him. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel pretty good. There's a lot of good players that have come to the Bisons. And again, like I stated at the start, I don't really place my value in lists as much as I like your list. I don't really place my value
I get it.
In the list. I place my value in what my teammates, my coaches are thinking about me and what I think about myself, right? So hearing that come from my head coach is a pretty big statement and pretty special, especially with guys that have come through this program like David Onyemata, Anthony Coombs, Nick Dembski, Jordan Yance. Like, list goes on from that. That's just some examples, but some big names have come out from this program. So I think that's I'm pretty honored to have him say that about me for sure.
I got to get one more in here. You're a Calgary guy, and let's be honest, people in Alberta, a lot of them thumb their nose against, they call Regina small Winnipeg. That's where I'm from. And then they kind of make fun of Winnipeg. Oh, Winnipeg's just a big Regina with an NHL team. How do you like Winnipeg?
I like Winnipeg a lot, man. I love it. Ever since I moved out here, I mean, the people out here have been awesome to me, so I think that's part of it as well. But the city's nice. Like, you got people need to come here in the summer. Like, everybody always just thinks it's -40 year round here. It's the worst weather. Like, the summer is nice. It's like +25 out here. We're outside all day. There's beaches around Manitoba you can always go to. Like, I love it out here. But every time I go back to Calgary, everybody's like, Winnipeg, like, what do you do down in Winnipeg? Yeah,
that's just the way it is. Hey, man, when you told me you've worked in your mechanics and you've taken your game to another level, I'm really excited that we hoping we get on the field in 2021. I'm confident we will. Can't wait to see number 12 slinging the rock for the Bisons. It's going to be great. I want you to prove this list wrong and that you are the best quarterback, if not the best player in CanWest, man.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get on that football field. Thanks for having me a lot. I appreciate the conversation.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
Here with U of R Rams running back Kyle Borsa, but I can say Winnipeg Blue Bombers running back Kyle Borsa. How are you doing, bud?
Pretty good, man. It's a good day, so.
Yeah, you got to be excited. Now, just your thoughts on where you went in the draft. 39th overall to Winnipeg. Your Ram teammate Robbie Lowe's went 5 picks higher. Disappointed with where you went? Do you care?
I did expect to go a little bit higher, but it's whatever. I'm not too worried about where I went. I'm happy. Everybody preaches the fit in the CFL, right? You want to go to the team that's best fit for you and your position. And Winnipeg plays Canadian running backs. They believe in Canadian skilled positions. So I'm stoked to be going there, and they believe in me, and I love the program, and I'm excited to get going there.
Kyle, you're 11 on our list in the top 50 CanWest list. Admittedly, it goes back to not playing since 2018. Had you played in 2019, and with what you bring to the table, you're probably a top 5 player. How do you feel when I say you're number 11? A list that was compiled by talking to coaches, media guys, and some guys in the league I trust anonymously. How do you feel about being number 11?
Yeah, I think number 11 is a fair number for kind of my situation and kind of what has taken place in my past and also my skill set. But I definitely agree with you. I think if things would have went my way, I think I could definitely be in that conversation for one of the top guys in the league. And it's unfortunate I didn't get to showcase that. But that day's coming. So.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pose this question to you because I'm not going to ask you who's the better back. I'm going to ask you why you're a better back than Adam Mack, because I know the competitor Kyle Borsa is not going to admit Mackert's, even though you have respect for him, you're not going to admit he's better. Why do you feel you're better?
Yeah, you got to respect Mackert's game. Number one, he's a player. Seen his tape. You got to respect the things that guy's done in the field. But I think I'm a better running back because of just the traits that I have. And I mean, I'm a bigger back, I'm faster. And I think I can do more out of the backfield in terms of catching the ball and being more of a Swiss Army knife where I can do lots of things for my team. And as good as Mackert is, and you can't take anything away from him, he should be number one. If you're basing it off of production on the field, nobody beats him. But yeah, I would personally rather have my physical traits.
Okay, so how much do you do the game within the game? So the Rams are playing the Huskies here in 2021. How much are you on the sideline going, okay, so I don't know the exact stats, but that dude's ripped off about a 50-yard run, a touchdown, and he's caught a couple passes. You know, is Kyle Borsa on the sidelines doing kind of some mental gymnastics, like, okay, I got to keep up with this guy, the game within the game, Mackert versus Borsa?
Yeah, I think just the competitive nature in me, I want to be the best, and I feel like if you don't have that that competitive nature in you, then I don't think football's the sport for you. So yeah, I'm always kind of competing against the guy across the field from me at the same position, and yeah, I try to get the better of my opponent every time, and if it's Mackert that day, then it's going to be the same approach.
I told your dad that you were going to the Bombers. We talked in the morning. I said, your son's going to end up in Winnipeg. That's how I had that feeling for a couple of days. Yeah, I was like, wow. Every time the Bombers would pick it, okay, they're going to take him here. They're going to take him here. Just because I know the Winnipeg organization, and you and Losey are kind of that Mike O'Shea, hard-nosed, work ethic kind of guy. So I thought at some point they were going to reach to you, but I was like, what is going on? And maybe it's such a mysterious thing about Borsa that they'll try to sign him as a street free agent. And okay, you got picked, so that's great. Okay, before we wrap up here, let's talk about the Rams, okay? A lot of people are talking about Calgary. I'm talking about the U of S as the two juggernauts in the West. Calgary, obviously, champs in 2019. U of S, they've been building for something here. But I think you guys have a sneaky good team, especially with the free agent acquisition of Kyle Borsa if he doesn't stick with Winnipeg. And I know that's on your mind, and that's what you want, but you also have the fallback coming to the Rams. Just your thoughts on the Rams team.
Yeah, personally, it's a win-win situation for me. If I can go stick in with Winnipeg, that's great. If they send me back, that's great too. I think you kind of hit it on the nose. I think we're kind of those under the radar teams. No one expects anything from us. We're always kind of the underdogs. But I know if we can get our stuff together. I know Donnelly's working his butt off like he normally does, and I think things are really going to come together for him this next year. Our receivers are getting better all the time, and if our own line can click, and man, yeah, sky will be the limit for us.
Why do you believe in Mark McConkey as a head coach? I think he's a great guy. I think he's a player's coach, but why do you believe in him as a coach? Yeah,
100%. Like you said, he's a player's coach, and that's kind of the shift the game has taken now, is that your coach needs to relate to your players for them to want to play for you, right? So, and Mark definitely checks off that box. I know any one of our guys has never said a bad thing about Mark McConkey, and every single one of my teammates would put their body on the line for him any day.
No, I'm rooting for you. The thing that you're in a bad spot, just like the 2020 guys. 2 draft classes coming in, and it's going to be a shortened season. So probably 3 weeks of training camp, no preseason games. Usually you'd get a crack maybe in one of those preseason games. So it wouldn't be an absolute shocker if you did come back. So that wasn't a shot towards you, but just comment on that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a quick turnover. And as for the rookie guys, it's just that much, another one of those hurdles that you have to overcome to crack a roster. But I'm gonna prepare the best I can. I'm gonna go in there the best shape I've ever been in, and gonna be the fastest and strongest I've ever been. And then I'm gonna play in my game and let the chips fall where they may. And if I come back to the Rams, I'm fine with that too.
Are you ready for the Labor Day Classic to be on the sidelines and people say, Borsa, you suck, Borsa. Oh man, that's terrible.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. The family's gonna be up there wearing blue too, so that's gonna be nice.
That's crazy, man. I can't believe I have to cheer for a Winnipeg. Hey, Bors, thanks for this. I'm looking forward to watching you play wherever that might be. Okay, thanks for this. Congratulations being on our list.
Okay, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Here with Bisons receiver AK Kassama, who comes from Sierra Leone. Just tell us about how you came to Canada and what was that like?
Well, I came here in 2001. It's about 1.5, 2 years old with my family. We came as from Sierra Leone. Obviously, you know, it's a war-torn country. There was a civil war, so we immigrated here. We first went as refugees to Gambia, and then from the Gambia we applied for a program out here. So, you know, just be able to get away. There's multiple different places to apply to, but we chose Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm here. So I came here when I was young, but originally that's where my background and my roots are from. And, you know, I grew up here and went to school here. Yeah, Sierra Leone's it's a small country on the west coast of Africa. The peninsula, it's on the coastal, and you know, where although we went through some tragedies, went through some, you know, some conflict, it's a very beautiful place. A lot of natural beaches there. Blessings with type of fruits, every type of fruit that you think is growing there. It's a lot of it. So there's, you know, obviously we were forced to come here, but now things are cool now and settled down. So it's definitely, and I got the chance to go back 2017. So it was good. Yeah.
Did you get in touch with your roots back there, family, you know,
for
kind
sure.
of where you came from and everything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I had to. I think once you reach a certain age, to like, you got to really know where you come from. It's something my mom always used to tell us. She used to say, if you don't know where you're going, know where you come from. And you know, I think it's important as you go through life here, and obviously I love over here, but there's also, I think there's a certain point, and even till now, right, I'm still trying to figure out certain parts of like my roots and my culture and my heritage. So I had to go back.
Yeah. Who are you? Tell us who you are. If people don't know you, I've never met you before. I'm pleased to meet you now. Just kind of give us a Coles Notes version. Who is AK Kassama?
I'm a believer. I'm a helper. I'm a hard worker. I'm someone who's truly passionate and believe like hard work and, you know, dedication, faith is gonna get you wherever you want to go. I mean, that's how I say I'm friendly. I like to help people. Yeah.
Where does that come from? Where does that come from? Does that come from your mom?
Yeah, for sure. My mom and my dad. I think my mom kind of gave me the nurturing skills. You know, being able to help there. My dad kind of helped me be a leader, and, you know, understanding that you got to be able to take on certain responsibilities, whether you like it or not. And well, not tell you whether you like it or not, but, you know, you have certain responsibilities that are bigger than you, and in life, to be a man, you got to be able to stand. So I think I definitely get both of those attributes from my parents. You,
if I'm not mistaken, you played a bunch of different positions in high school and coming to the Bisons. So was that good or bad for you?
Oh, I think it was the best thing, because I learned the game wholly. So when I first started football, I started playing community football here in Winnipeg at 4th grade Lions. So I started off, when I came on the field, I was fast. Everybody knows me as being fast. So they would just my speed. So at first, I was a running back. I would just, you know, the type of guy to get the hand off. I didn't really know the rules at first. You know, I'd go and just run the safety. And then when I got then I was around, I'd say like 6th to like 8th grade, I was playing running back again. And then I went and tried out for the provincial team. I tried out as a running back, and then I was too small, so they moved me to receiver. They're like, "Oh, you fast though, you can move," you know. So I moved to the provincial team. I made it as a practice player, so I didn't fully make the team, but the coach wanted me to still practice with them and still, like, you know, train. And I kept my head down, you know, I was humble about it. I kept working until I actually got to the point where I got to, you know, my coach. I have one coach I actually thank a lot. His name is Coach Botello. He really gave me a chance, Jimmy Botello. And he seen that in me, that he's like, oh man, you know what? Like, you've been practicing with us. Like, he talked to the head coach, and they kept me on the provincial team. And I even got a chance to, you know, I wasn't a starter, but I eventually got to play. And then that's what took me to high school. So now I've been playing receiver. So I played receiver throughout my whole high school. And then, so grade 9, I was playing receiver. And then I also played a little bit of DB. So in grade 9, when we needed some coverage. We were playing against St. Paul's in the finals, and I think one of our players that went down. I just, I would used to just kind of play DB in practice just because of fun's in it. And then I played a game in grade 9, and then our finals game, championship game, where I was playing both sides of the field. So that was when my head coach at Vincent Massey, Kelsey McKay, Coach McKay, and the defensive coordinator, Coach Potts, they wanted me to come to varsity. And so I was born in 10th grade. So usually you play 9, 10 is JV, and then 11, 12. But
right.
I played varsity. They wanted me to play DB there. So I was getting ready now for my grade 9 to 10 season. I was getting ready to play DB. But then I also played the provincial season because at that time we just finished football and then provincials again. And I played receiver, and now I'm at the level, I'm a starter for the provincial team, the U16 team. I'm our starting receiver. And so, but now I'm still focusing when I go to high school, because I'm like, well, I'm probably not going to play. I'm going to be playing receiver. But I mean, I played playing DB, and then I ended up actually going back and playing receiver because coach had seen me already play receiver, and just like injuries happen, and then he saw me compete against the guys, and I earned the starting position as a receiver on the varsity team again. But because I knew how to play DB, the coaches would always, when we had like games where, we needed, to cover certain guys, like, athletic guys, I would get put onto DB and I'd cover them. So even when I came to Bisons, I remember I got asked a little bit, hey, like, we seen your film. Do you want to play DB? Do you want to play receiver? I told them I was obviously more comfortable with playing receiver just because I put more into that. But I played DB. I was a kick returner. And yeah, so I think playing both sides of the ball really has just kind of helped me understand the game more wholeheartedly, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, do you have any, now I know everybody will say they want to go to the Hardy Cup and the championship. I get that. But do you have a personal goal? You don't strike me as a guy into numbers, but everybody kind of has a goal, what they want from themselves. Do you have something in mind as a goal for yourself this year? Yeah,
I do. I mean, I'm definitely humble, but I mean, I'm a competitor at the end of the day. I want to be one of the top receivers in the country. I think a lot of people have seen a glimpse of kind of what I could do. They know my speed, they know my athleticism, but it's been almost 2 years and I've been working on the field. There's some things that, other teams didn't get a chance to really see last year. Some of my teammates, we've seen that and the coaches know, but, I'm coming out with some expectations for myself to, prove the work that I put in. So definitely, I'm not running necessarily for accolade or numbers, but I think I'm going to prove just by my play that, hey, I'm here.
Man, this was a great pleasure to talk to you. It's great to meet people behind the mask. Can't wait to see you on the field in 2021, man, and see what AK Kassama can do. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate this.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out the CanWest Top 50 show. Next week, we're into the top 10. It's going to be great. We'll check you out next week. Hopefully the ref didn't see that.